Hello and welcome back to Seeing Things Differently. My name is Alicia and in today's episode we're going to be looking at the role of music in dementia and creating a personalised playlist. Music has always been a very big part of my life. I have music on most of the time and I find that a lot of songs help me connect with a feeling or take me back to a specific memory, as they do for lots of people. Next week, on the 29th of September, Playlist for Life are launching the first ever National Playlist Day. Now, there is a wealth of research that shows listening to music stimulates areas of the brain associated with memory, reasoning, speech, and emotion, which means that it can be a very powerful tool for people living with dementia. Playlist for Life is a music and dementia charity set up in 2013 with a beautiful vision for every person with a diagnosis of dementia to have a unique, personalised playlist. The reason for this is that a playlist with personally meaningful songs can have lots of psychological benefits, such as reducing anxiety, improving your mood, making difficult tasks more manageable, and evoking memories that help people connect with each other. I have linked a report from the World Health Organization about the role of the arts in improving well-being in the description bar below if you would like to learn more. So, in preparation for National Playlist Day on the 29th of September, the lovely people at Playlist for Life sent me a pack of amazing resources to create my very own personal playlist. So let me show you what it included. Here we have a workbook with lots of information on how to create the soundtrack of your life. So all about the power of music, and information as well at the back about making the most of your playlist. It also includes lots of different prompts to get you thinking about what songs you might like to add to your playlist. For example, thinking about music or songs that were relevant at certain stages throughout your life, like your childhood, or special memories, so things like birthdays, weddings, big family occasions. And then at the back here you have space to write out your full playlist, and there's information to support you on setting up your playlist and listening to it in the way that's best for you. We also have this leaflet which opens up to give you lots of amazing information about the benefits of a personal playlist, and contains lots of great prompts for helping you create your playlist, and I'll cover these in more detail when I talk through how I created mine. There is also an A4 paper copy that is double-sided and includes the same set of prompts. And lastly, we have this amazing book called 100 Years, A Century of Song, and it contains the top 100 songs from every year from 1915 to 2015. So here's some examples. And I had a lot of fun looking through this resource, and I honestly couldn't believe how many of the songs from my childhood I still knew the lyrics to. So, as you know, my dad was diagnosed with a rare form of dementia in 2011, and sadly we can't make the playlist with him. So I've decided to create a personal playlist for me that reminds me of all the special times I shared with my dad. I asked my mum to come over and help me, and it definitely made the playlist feel more special because we were able to share our recollections of Dad and spend hours talking about all the wonderful memories we were lucky enough to make as a family. So we started using the leaflet, and here are some of the songs that we chose for my personal playlist. Now, immediately when I saw this prompt here that asks about TV themes, I had to put down The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air by Will Smith. I have such vivid memories of the show always being on when I'd come home from school, and it was one of the only shows that you could have on where Dad wouldn't ask you to change the channel. Under that category, I also put The Chain by Fleetwood Mac because it's the theme for the Formula One and Dad loved to watch the racing. And I know it's not a TV show, but the song Can't Fight the Moonlight by Leanne Rimes also popped into my head when thinking about this prompt, because it features in a film called Coyote Ugly. We used to watch so many films with Dad, but this is one that we would always sing along to. Now, the next prompt we thought about was the memory bump prompt here. And this encourages you to think about memories formed between ages 10 and 30. Now, I didn't need to use the Century of Songbook for this one because I already had a song in mind. It might sound sad, but I was bullied quite badly at school when I was younger, and I remember often coming home and crying to Mum and Dad. They always gave me a huge hug and made me feel safe, and there's one song that has the ability to give me that same sense of safety and as if I'm back in that warm hug again. That song is The Best Day by Taylor Swift. And the lyrics really resonated with me when I was younger, and it became a song that I would use to make myself feel safe and calm on the way to school. Now, under the memory bump box, there is a special moments and milestones box, which asks about which songs take you back to a special time in your life. Now, this one might seem strange because it wasn't something that you would typically class as a milestone, but it's a memory that remains so vivid and special for me. When I was about 6 or 7, I remember going to the hospital with my dad and my nan. Nan had typical Alzheimer's, and on one occasion we were waiting for her to finish her appointment, so Dad and I were sat in the car park outside in the car, and he suggested that we learn a song to keep us busy. The song that we learnt was Somewhere Out There by Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram. It's a duet, so I would sing Linda's parts and Dad would sing James's parts. And the more I listen to this song, the more special it becomes, because it was something that only he and I shared. I'm always overcome by emotion when I hear it. I do feel a sadness that I can't sing with Dad anymore, but also a joy that we were able to create a memory so special that I will carry it with me forever. Thinking about this song also made Mum and I start to think about all the songs that reminded me of my childhood, so we completed this in the next prompt here. My family always had music on in the house, and I remember Mum and Dad listening to Motown and watching them dance together to Luther Vandross. Both had a special song that they would sing to me as well. So Mum would sing Close to You by the Carpenters, and it was so special, in fact, that I actually thought Mum made that song just for me. It was only when I was older I realised it was already a song. And Dad would always sing Lost in Space by the Lighthouse Family. I remember we had an old vinyl record player and stereo system in the living room, and he would put this song on and we would dance together. Dad was a very lively and charismatic man, so it wasn't unusual for us all to be dancing or singing or moving around to music. And he encouraged my brother and I to always be confident and not take ourselves too seriously. So as part of that, he would often put music on in the car at full volume and we would all sing along, even if that meant that the other cars in traffic waiting at the lights would look at us strangely. So under the prompt here for party tunes, I decided instead of putting sort of club anthems or music that you would listen to at parties, I included all of Dad's favourites for car journeys. The most important song under that category would have to be Pump It by the Black Eyed Peas. And I remember one afternoon Dad had picked me up early from school and we were listening to this song in his black Saab, parked in front of the house. I went to open the passenger side door, but the song hadn't finished yet. So Dad told me to close the door. He started the song again and this time turned it up to the maximum volume, and we performed that song together like we were on stage. It was amazing. Under this prompt, I also put Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross because I remember driving with the windows down and singing together. We had so many party tunes for the car, and sometimes now when I'm driving around alone, I'll put these on and I imagine that Dad is in the passenger seat next to me. Now, once Mum and I had finished using the leaflet resource and filled in all the boxes, we decided to start looking through the workbook. And I think we must have spent the largest amount of time on the section here about important people. And that's because we were spending so much time reminiscing about Dad, and each memory would spark another. So we've added lots and lots of songs here. We did use the Century of Songbook to look at what Dad's memory bump years would have been. And he was born in 1956, so we flipped through all of the years from 1966 to 86. And under the year 1976, we saw the song Don't Go Breaking My Heart by Elton John and Kiki D. And now, while this song itself didn't stand out as one to add to the playlist, it reminded us how much Dad loved Elton John. We added a few of his favourites, like Benny and the Jets and Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting. We've also added Superstition by Stevie Wonder, because as we were talking about Dad, I remembered an instance where Dad thought the song was called Mary's Superstition and he would sing the lyrics wrong. Mum then explained that Dad knew the right lyrics, and while I had remembered this event correctly, him singing the wrong lyrics and insisting that he had them right may have actually been one of the first signs of dementia, because Mum and Dad had sung that song together so many times and he'd never ever sung it wrong before. Now, the last song that we added to the playlist is one that is very close to my heart because it instantly makes me feel close to my dad. The song is Dance With My Father by Luther Vandross. It's odd to think about because if you know this song, it is a pretty sad song. It can be quite hard to listen to. And the lyrics talk about how he would give anything for one more dance with his father as he reminisces all the times they've shared. My dad played this song for me long before he was diagnosed with dementia, and I never really connected with it emotionally. But when Dad's symptoms started to get worse and he lost the ability to dance with me or my mum, I started to listen to this song on repeat. It would make me really sad, but it also gave me lots of comfort in knowing that if someone has written a song about this, then I can't be the only one feeling this way. Now, this song is very grounding for me, and I often imagine myself dancing with Dad when I hear it. So these were just a few of the meaningful songs that I've added to my personal playlist, and I can truly say that Mum and I really enjoyed spending the afternoon creating it. I feel like it brought us closer to Dad and closer to each other, and now we both have a very special playlist to listen to whenever we need it. With National Playlist Day coming up on the 29th of September, I seriously encourage you to create your very own personal playlist, whether you make something for the person living with dementia or to remind you of a loved one like I did. The fantastic people at Playlist for Life can help with this, and I've linked their website in the description bar below so you can go and get started. And I have to say that making a playlist like this is a very powerful experience. Now, if making a whole playlist feels like a bit too much for you, maybe you don't have the time at the moment, then you can still get involved with National Playlist Day. The aim of the day is to raise awareness of the power of personally meaningful music. So Playlist for Life are asking for as many people as possible to share their memory bump song on social media on the 29th using the hashtag National Playlist Day. Alternatively, you can submit your song in advance via the link I have put in the description bar below, and then it will get added to their specially curated playlist. Before we finish up today, I want to say a huge thank you to Playlist for Life for sending me such an incredible pack of resources. They've allowed me to connect very deeply with my family, and particularly my dad. If you'd like to see my whole personalised playlist dedicated to Dad, you can find it through the link in the description bar. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to like this video and subscribe to the Seeing Things Differently channel. Until next time, goodbye!